Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 117 of the All in Football Fantasy Premier League show and podcast. I am your host, the self proclaimed FPL guru, Alex Rex, and joining me today are Scott Williams and the original host of the All in Football Fantasy podcast. Well, actually, the All in Football podcast, wasn't it, Cully, really? From its origin, Cully Matharu. Cully, how are you today?
All good, mate. Pleasure to be on as always.
It's absolutely lovely to have you. Scott, how are you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Yeah, just that I've dipped out of our top 10 though, so I'm just classing that as season beneath.
Well, we kicked Baz off this week. We couldn't be bothered with him with his terrible decision making, and also the fact that he's passed me in the FPL league meant that I didn't want him here today. So there you go, Baz. Hopefully you are listening, and congratulations on being a point ahead of me and us both being absolutely rubbish at FPL this year. Thanks very much for everyone for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on social media platforms, Audible Pod, Audible P, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Do not forget to like this YouTube video, subscribe to our channel, join our legions of subscribers, and give us 5 stars where you get your podcast from, and also click subscribe on the little bell icon, especially on Spotify. That's where most of you listen. So, lads, this week we are going to be talking all about certain teams that we need to focus on over the next 3 or 4 weeks for the next international break, which is just after game week 12. And we're going to have a really good chat about what's going on in the Premier League this year because guess what? Cully's team, Liverpool, are top of the league. How boring. Arnie Slots, Barmy, Army. Cully, how are you feeling about that whilst I get the manager of the week team up?
Oh, I obviously got to enjoy it while we can. Arsenal next week, though, mate. So it's probably only the last 1 week. So one more week, I should say. So the City got at Saints at home. So
Yeah.
yeah, got to enjoy it while we can. Hopefully, it lasts a little bit longer. But
I don't worry, mate. I think you'll beat Arsenal because they can't keep 11 men on the pitch, can they? At the moment, I think they've had three sendings off this year in 8 games. So, yeah, obviously full of discipline, but we'll touch on that later on. Manager of the week, well done to uh, Scott Bell, Wimborne Town.
Ah,
Not you this week.
hit the
62
post.
points. Very close. Verbruggen, Guardiol, Gabriel, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Howard Bellis with no points. Semenya and Bumo, Salah captain, believed in your man, Cully. Eze, Chris Wood up top with Solanke. He had Greaves, but yeah, Greaves, Saka, and João Pedro his benches not looking in great shape. Cully, you got 60 points this week, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I was saying before the pod started to you that it was seemed like a week that I didn't think I was doing too well on the Saturday, and then I looked on the Sunday after we see all the games were played. I was like, oh, 49, and then Sells got me another 11 points last night, which I didn't watch the game, but yeah, must have had an absolute storm of a time in that.
Yeah, he 11 points. You've kept hold of Guardiol, which is obviously some paid off the last 3 game weeks since I
Yeah, I
sold
mean they
since I
concede every
sold him.
week, but he's just such a threat going forward now. So
It's absolutely ridiculous how much of a threat he is. And Havertz and Ollie Watkins, how are you feeling this week about not having Mr. Erling Haaland for Southampton at home?
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to bring him in. So I am going to bring him in
I don't think I could possibly
and
cope
see
with not having.
how he gets.
Yeah, I couldn't cope without having Haaland this week, Cully. Sorry, that's my internet sitting in a service
Yeah,
station car park. We should have known where in the world is me today, shouldn't we? Actually, yeah,
that's that might.
I'm at a service station this time. So Sam Danby Bailey, Sam is here, takes the lead of the league, 3 points clear of Kieran Ball. Sam Kimoni is down to third, only 4 points off the top though. James Pellett and then Mark Anderson and Scott Williams unfortunately has dropped out of our top 10. You are 11th, Scott.
it's all good. James Pellett won't be in there for much longer, so he's absolutely nosebleed his way in there. So yeah, I've got that space. Just keeping that space for.
Nice. Let's talk about the 3 teams that we're going to focus on a little bit more this week, and we're going to start off with our friends Brentford, who unfortunately failed to win this weekend at the hands of the mighty Eric Ten Hag. With his phenomenal performance for Manchester United. They've got Ipswich at home, Fulham away, Bournemouth at home, Everton away, and Leicester at home. The next 5 fixtures, the next 3 up to the international break are really good, and then the 2 following are as well. We're going to have a conversation about is there anyone else? I'm going to phrase it this way, Scott. Is it Mbumo or bust? Or can we have a look at some of their other assets?
Yeah. I mean, you've got Mbumo's best mate. He's back, isn't he? He obviously came on for the last 24 minutes against Man United. Was on was absolute flames before he got injured. 11 points, 2 points, 8 points, 7 points, and that 7 point was a 45-minute appearance against City. So yeah, this for me is one that you can certainly look at bringing in. Um, you know, I'm it's just a tricky one though because he's that second kind of striker, isn't he? You've probably got Haaland and a lot of people have Ollie Watkins, and if you like me and you've got João Pedro, I don't believe that's a straight swap, is it? You'll know, Alex.
He's 5.5 or something. No, he can't
Yeah,
quite afford him as a straight swap.
yeah, yeah. So if you've got a bit of money in the bank, I think that's quite a good option to go from to Pedro because he's just red, isn't he? He's just black for a while and he's just injury prone anyway. This kind of fits that bill quite nicely. I know a lot of people have Chris Wood, and Chris Wood's obviously been on really good form. Not sure what Forest's fixtures are like going forward though. Um,
Not
I feel like, I feel like
not too bad. Leicester away, West
yeah,
Ham at home, but then it's Newcastle at home and Arsenal away, followed by Ipswich at home, but Man City away and Man U away.
uh,
So they really take a turn after the next 2 weeks for Chris Wood.
yeah. So you probably don't want to get rid of him. And I mean, from what I heard on the radio, I obviously scored. I think he could have had a hat trick in that game.
Yeah.
I think the keeper's made a couple of good saves. So you probably want to keep hold of Chris Wood if you've got him. But I guess if you're in my situation, Avisa is an option. It's a slight gamble because at the end of the day, he might not start next game. He's just coming back from injury. But Ipswich at home, you only need half an hour on the pitch to maybe get yourself a goal in that game. Again, looking from my perspective, and people might also be in a similar perspective to me. I've got I've got Barco still, who obviously on loan out of the country. I have João Pedro injured, and I have lovely Saliba now that's banned. So I've got 3 red flags. So actually, for me, I don't really want. I want to try a different tactic this year. I've usually wildcarded when we go, oh, this is a good time to wildcard. And I've just gone, oh, well, everyone else is doing it. A lot of people are doing it. I'm going to do it. But I really want to just kind of hold on to it as long as possible if I like my team.
Mhm.
Obviously, that sounds pretty obvious, but so for me, I want to try and get rid of one of those red flags. So this is one I'm looking at. But other than that, I mean, a lot of people are flecking anyway. Yeah, you'll just keep him in. He's going to be playing for you against Ipswich at home, of course. But I don't think they're not keeping any clean sheets. They've not kept a
They've
clean sheet
never
all
kept a
season.
clean sheet. Yeah, they've not kept
So,
zero
so
clean sheets this year.
so you're not bringing them in. You're probably playing Flecken in goal because one of the best chances we've got of keeping a clean sheet is Ipswich at home. But other than that, you're not looking elsewhere for me, other than Vissa. But if you're not going Buemo, feels like you need it. Buemo bringing it.
Collins and Pinnock have both been good threats as well. To be fair, Pinnock scored 2 and 2 now, but yeah, they're not keeping clean sheets. You're relying on them to get goals. Collins' underlying numbers in terms of attacking perspective from attacking perspective is pretty good. But Cully, for you, any Brentford players on your radar and from a footballing perspective,
Now,
how do you
you two
feel
have
about
said
them?
exactly what I was thinking. If I'm honest, Scott's probably hit the nail on the head, and you've said what I wanted to say about Collins and Pinnock. So I know they're in the 20s in terms of points, but that's probably attacking returns in it instead of clean sheets. They never keep clean sheets, but they do score a lot of set piece goals. So I wouldn't personally touch any Brentford assets, Barron and Buemo. And if Issa does come back, I think he's going to be drip feeded in. Like Scott said, he's probably going to get half an hour next game and then maybe start the next game after that. But I won't touch anyone but Buemo at the minute.
The only blanks Mbumo has had this season are Liverpool away, Man City away, and Man United away. He has returned in every other game this season, and at 7.6, he's still a bargain for me. Yeah, I agree with this. Probably a good draft gamble, I'd have thought. And another player I will say in terms of a player that you're not going to bring into your FPL teams because we've got quite a lot of options here. But again, it's more of a draft gamble pick, I'd have thought. If you've got a big draft league, there's 10 players in there, and you've got 50 midfielders active or whatever, and you're looking for a fifth midfielder.
Um,
Damsgaard's underlying stats have looked pretty good. He's started all the games since game week 3. He's got 90 minutes in his last 3, and he's had 3 assists. So and his underlying numbers generally have been decent. So as an outside pick, mostly from a draft perspective, you'd be looking at Damsgaard. Lads, Everton, Cully's favourite team, of course, as a Liverpool fan. What do you think, Cully? Are we looking at Dwight McNeil finally coming of age? Is Michael Keane a bargain at 4.1, or is he just going to get dropped as soon as Branthwaite comes back?
I mean,
What do you
47
think?
points for Neil in 8 game weeks is a very good return, if I'm honest. So, and obviously the fixture list is kind to him for the next 3 or 4 games. So, one to look at. I know he's 5.7 mil, so very cheap. But I'd look more defensively if I'm honest, because I still don't trust him scoring goals. I know they've obviously got two in the last 2 games, but still don't trust them every single game to get more than one, if I'm honest. So even with the teams they're facing, so I'd probably look at defensively for them. Look at the likes of probably Tarkowski or even Young if he starts on the wing backs positions, or maybe even Michael Keane. But yeah, if it's McNeil, if you want to go attacking, and one of them three, if I was going to go defensively, but I'm not going to touch anything. If I'm honest, I don't trust them.
Yeah, well, I think you've also got a bit of a red versus blue bias there. Maybe I don't know. 2 clean sheets in a row though for Everton. Fulham at home, Southampton away, West Ham away, and Brentford at home. Followed by Man U away, and then Wolves at home. So they're not too bad in terms of fixtures. Scott, we've alluded to 2 clean sheets in a row. Young is his place secure. Tarkowski's not actually returning. Keane's the one who's getting the points, but is he just going to get dropped when Branthwaite comes back? Mikalenko's got a return. Who do we pick from the defenders? And then also, is it again McNeil or bust, or do we like your Ndiaye shout, for example?
Yeah, it's one of those. Like, obviously, I only watched the highlights of the game against Ipswich, but from I think they had one half chance that fell to Delap on the edge of the box. Other than that, they weren't really tested, and that just kind of gives you confidence in the defense actually. And that I honestly think 2 clean sheets in a row, Sean Dyche. I think he'll keep that centre back partnership of Keane and Tarkowski intact for now. Yes, we know Brantwaite's got bags of ability, but when you've got when you've kept to when you've been when you had the disastrous start to the season they had 3-0, 4-0, two games where you 2-0 up and you lose them both, and actually you concede one goal in the last 3 games. You've got to keep that defensive partnership going. They're experienced defenders as well. They've got so many years under the belt. So yeah, I would potentially look at McNeil's got class as well. Like, it's one of those that's like, when are you going to come off the boil? But it just keeps going. And his assist was lovely for the goal. So yeah, I would potentially look at McNeil. Maybe an Ndiaye, obviously cheap at 5.4 million as a striking option. Could look at that. It's one that I will weigh up the option of as well. Obviously, I can straight swap him for João Pedro. He's playing a lot. He's played the last 3 games. He's played last 5 6 games. He's played 80 plus minutes. And he looks afraid. He seems to play like on the left of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He likes to cut in, but he looks dangerous when he cuts in from that left side, and he's got a really good shot on him. So he could be one, but I think Everton have sorted themselves out of it now. It's pretty crazy to think actually if they'd held on to those 2-0 wins, they'd be like comfortably in like mid-table now.
You look at these results though, Scott, don't you? Like, they lost their first 3-0 and 4-0, which were tough going. Then they blew 2-0 leads, and then they've showed it up, draw, win, draw, win. And they they've I mean we mentioned this at the very beginning of the season on the pre-season podcast. When I listened to the clash of the correspondents that Planet FPL did, the Everton correspondent said categorically, do not have any Everton players in to start the season. We will start slowly and then we will pick up pace. And he was like, don't do it. Don't do it. Everyone was getting Pickford and he was like, don't do it yet. And to be fair, he knew his team. He knew his team well. And I listened to that. Didn't have any Everton players for a reason. And yeah, he did it. I mean, Michael Keane's got 4.1 mil. He's only not played in one game this year. He's played 90 minutes in every other match. I know it's because Bramford's there. He's the sort of player that I wouldn't mind bringing in like this week for an example or for a couple of weeks. But I probably wouldn't want to wild card him because he's probably going to be a problem in the future.
Yeah,
He's probably going to get
you
dropped.
I think you've always got that safety, haven't you, as well for a centre back. As long as you've got a playing squad. If you bring Keane in, he doesn't play. He's probably not coming on. So you're not gonna probably get a 1 pointer from him. So you do have that security. But yeah, I think, like I said, I think I shall keep that partnership intact.
It's interesting to see who as well, because we've got quite a few like 5.7 million options in that sort of bracket at the moment. And you've got players like Traore, Iwobi, and Smith Rowe at Fulham, who we're going to touch on in a minute. And all of them have got sort of better underlying stats than, like, for example, a Morgan Rogers, but a lot of people have him. But then Dwight McNeil is just returning more than all of them at 5.7 million. So, in terms of his returns, he's been relatively consistent, to be fair. Of a 2 and a 2 to start the season, but 6, 12, 2, 15, 2 and 6. They're not bad returns, and he's doing it consistently to start the season. So, I think personally, you could do a lot worse than bringing him in and spending a bit of money on him rather than some of the other guys. Anyway, yeah, an absolute. I'm very happy to have him in the draft team. Yeah, I think he's a great pick in that side. And yeah, Pickford at 4.8. Is he? Is he gonna? This is exactly what he did last season, Cully. Exactly what Pickford did last season. Started terribly and then went on this run and then became the top scoring keeper in the game. And he started about now.
This is
So
what Everton do every season, not just Pickford. Everton do this every season. That's what they like.
Fulham boys. Let's do talk about the fixtures for these guys first. Everton away next. Brentford at home. Palace away. Wolves at home. Then they've got Spurs away. Then Brighton at home. So probably 5 of the next 6 are decent. I mean, Spurs away, Brighton at home is a debatable couple of fixtures at the end of this run anyway. But Everton away, Brentford at home, Palace away, Wolves at home. We've got an old favourite back. Jimenez is back. He's performing. I've missed him. Cully, what do you think? Should we be investing in Raul?
Well, 5.7 million assets. There you go. One of them's Jimenez. Smith Rowe is probably the most likely I'd go for as that fifth midfielder. As Scott said before, I think a lot of people are going to have Haaland and Watkins, and probably people like Liam Delap as well as a the third striker. So it's tough to get him in. I think if I'm in this run of fixtures, if you want the premium assets up front, I'd probably go Smith Rowe over Raul. I know obviously he's a bit of a cult hero in fantasy, isn't he? So yeah,
Absolutely.
got that soft spot for us all, but. I'd maybe look at. I'd say about their underlying defensive stats as well. I know they don't get many clean sheets, but their XG against is actually really, really good.
Yep.
I think it's second to us. I think in the league so for
Yeah,
goals
second or third,
XG conceded.
Yeah,
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so maybe look at a defender, but something like Robinson who can get you attacking returns as well. And I know Anderson's just got sent off, but I really like Anderson. Obviously, he's going to be suspended now, so obviously don't touch him.
yes, he will be a pain for a little bit, unfortunately, for some people who've brought him in. I think Baz nearly brought him in on a wild card as well, which was a pain. Scott, Jimenez, I mean, surely he's the ideal third striker at the moment at 5.7 mil, and he's scored in what 4 of his last 5.
Yeah, he looks absolutely class, doesn't he? And that one game he didn't score and he got an assist. So yeah, he looks back to his old self, and it is good because obviously he's a legend in FPL, but he's also a player that when he was in his pomp rather,
Prompt.
yeah, whatever that word is, he was linked with everyone, and he is obviously for people that might not be listening, he got a really bad skull injury, like fractured skull or whatever it was, wasn't it? And really, really dangerous injury. So it took him a long time, to come back. When he came back, he had the protective gear on. He didn't look right. He didn't look confident. He didn't look comfortable. A lot of his game is winning aerial battles, being that big number 9 up front, holding the ball up, and he was such a threat from corners. And it's taken him a long time, understandably, to get that confidence back. But now you see him, he's playing. He's not got like the protective gear on anymore, which might have been like off-putting. Remember what Mbappe? He was rubbish in the Euros with his goggles on. So yeah, he's back to his old self, and you can tell like the way he took his ball at the weekend, the old Leno assist, Route One football there. He took it instinctively. Yeah, he's a great option. And again, Fulham really decent starts to the season. Their only losses against Fulham City and Man United. I mean, and let's be honest, that game against Man United, they were very, very unlucky not to get anything from that game as well. So again, started the season well, going under the radar as per usual. And yeah, certainly an option to look at. I think Everton away, obviously it says a green fixture. I think now it's now a bit of a trickier fixture. Brentford's nice at home, and Wolves is nice at home, and Palace is they seem like they're in a bit of turmoil at the minute. But yeah, he'd be one. He'll be one I'll be looking at. But yeah, there's a few options like Kully says. Don't know where you'd go on that one. And maybe he'll be on pens as well, because that was a horrendous pen by Andreas Pereira.
Awful pen. Scott, I have to touch on the man who's got the best XGI so far this year.
Is it true, right?
It must be
Oh, it
true.
is. It's Adama, mate. It's Adama. He's got 2 assists and a goal, so he's got 3 returns, and his XGI is 4, so he's only just underperforming it.
He's such a troll, isn't he? Yeah, it'll look like he's going to get you double figure points every game week, but he won't. Yeah, if you want to bring him in and don't watch the games, then he's probably fine. But just expect to look on fantasy football and there'll be a 2 next to his name. So yeah, if only he could have that end product, he'd be playing.
I'd say you're a better finisher than him, Alex.
Yeah, I am a better finisher than him.
You're
There's not many people in the there's not many people in the world I'm a better finisher than. I'm a better finisher than Traore. It's disappointing really, because I think obviously Pereira scores that pen. You know, he's on 30 points plus so far this season. He's then got more points than Adama and Iwobi, and then only Smith Rowe's outperformed him in terms of midfield. He takes all the set pieces. He's quite a disappointment really from that. He like for any owner from him, because that was sort of the moment where he became worth it in FPL, and he really buggered it up, to be honest. Smith Rowe, three attacking returns from an XGI of 2.3. He just feels like he's got a touch of quality about him, doesn't he? I like all of them. I like all of those assets, and I agree. I think if I could have Jimenez, I'd have Jimenez over all of them. To be honest, he's the one that's putting the ball in the net at the moment, and then after that, it would be Smith Rowe next. In terms of defensive options, look, Robinson's got 2 assists. He's not going to get you any goals, but in terms of assists, he seems to be delivering okay. There hasn't been any defenders that have put the ball in the net for. No defenders have scored for Fulham yet this season. So, I don't know. If you were going to go for one, it'd be Robinson. I said, I've got him in draft again. 4.7 mil, though, is probably a tiny bit more expensive than what you'd want to spend on a defender for him when his attacking returns aren't going to be that great and there aren't many people keeping clean sheets. I'd rather have Mikalenko at 4.3, to be honest. Just save the money. But anyway, there you are. Quick opinions on Man City. Can't keep a clean sheet, but Guardiola decides to score again. Haaland blanking 3 in a row. Is it 3 in a row he's blanked now, Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah. Newcastle, Fulham, and Wolves.
He doesn't like playing against Craig Dawson, though. I should have looked at that before I captained him. Craig Dawson back pockets Erling Haaland. That should be what it's how we talk about it. Who we're looking at, lads? Quickly, Cully.
I trust Haaland. I know he's gone 3 games, but Southampton at home. I mean, that's a hat trick waiting to happen, surely. Foden coming off the bench getting an assist. Not too sure why he's not in Guardiola's plans to start still, but I've got Guardiola in, and I brought in Haaland for this week. Rico Lewis is a decision that I have to make in terms of playing him, but I think I'm going to play him against Southampton. I've had him in for weeks, so I'm probably not going to take him out for this game week. Other than that, De Bruyne's still injured, so I don't think there's as many other options, if I'm honest. Is that Savinho? Is that his name? Savinho? What's his name? Savio. That's it. Savio. Well, one of them. He looks promising, but he's maybe a little bit Traore. Like, he doesn't get really many as in points as in end products, so like goals or assists. So, but it does look very promising. But maybe one for the future.
Yeah. Scotty, anyone would you look to bring in for City other than Haaland?
Yeah, I'd say I think you gave him a shout last week. Kovacic, he's going to play. He's going to play because Rodri's injured, and the way City play, they're like holding midfielders. It's a bit like Rico Lewis. Like at some point, he was just doing what he wanted on that pitch. He was like stood in like the centre forward position. But the way City play, the defensive midfielders they push up. And there was a few occasions against Wolves where Kovacic was getting shots away at 5.6 million. That he's just going to be chilling around Southampton's box. He's going to play as well, which is an important matter. So actually, if you don't want to gamble on Foden and have a mental breakdown like Baz, that's why he's not the pod. He's again hunting Foden down. He's going to get those minutes for you. So I genuinely think it'd be one. Like I've got Lewis already. He's staying in the team again. He could have had like a goal last game as well. It was frustrating, but he's always there, isn't he? Just doing his thing. But yeah, for me, Doku looked bright, doesn't have the end product. Savio looked bright, doesn't have the end product.
Yeah, and the Lewis pick at 4.8 mil, he's played 90 minutes in 5 games out of 80 and 1 and 45. And he's only missed one match, and that was Arsenal at home. So he's getting into some fantastic positions. It's one of those where his statistics aren't actually that great, but when you watch the highlights of the match, you're like, hang on, is this lad a defender on FPL and he's weirdly finding his way at the penalty area? It's one of those moments, isn't it, where there's going to be one week where Lewis is going to get a goal and 2 assists and they're going to batter Southampton 5-0. And everyone, and all the owners are going to have it. It's good. It's coming, isn't it?
And there's only one team keeping clean sheets, and that's Liverpool. Any of the teams like keeping clean sheets, so you're not really got your defenders in there for a clean sheet. So actually, why don't we have a cheap option for the team that's going to create the most chances? That's Rico Lewis.
Yeah, no, I agree. Southampton at home next is obviously an amazing fixture. Then Bournemouth away and Brighton away. Before they play Spurs, and then they go to Anfield. So interesting run of fixtures. Let's talk about my boys: Man United, West Ham away, Chelsea at home, Leicester at home, Ipswich away, and Everton at home. So next 2 aren't that easy. The next 3 after we should probably be looking to target. But I don't know. But West Ham can't stop conceding goals really, and Chelsea at home would be, I think, quite a good match, that one really. My initial take is that when we play Casemiro, Eriksen, and Bruno together, there's a good balance in there. And when we've got Garnacho, Haaland, and Rashford playing together up top, the statistics are frightening. We win pretty much every game when them 3 start together, and we just haven't had the opportunity to play them together as often. I still think that that's one of our better teams, and we'll discuss Man United in a little bit from a footballing perspective. In a bit. Scott, from an FPL perspective, anyone catching your eye in terms of value?
Dallo.
Yeah.
Essentially, the late looks an option from corners, but I mean, the guy just can't go for a whole game without like either picking an injury up or like smashing his head open or what. Like, it just seems like a walk-in potential injury. You got Mazraoui. Obviously, he had some heart issues, didn't he? So he's slightly coming back into the team now. But yeah, I think Dallo. I mean, it just sums Man United up when you look at the top players: Onana, Dallo, Garnacho, De Ligt, Mazraoui. Yeah, so they don't really that exciting. Man United used to be like a team that everyone laughed at, but the game's like 4-3, they were losing, but just a bit boring at the minute. And Man United fans will probably take that for a bit.
Oh, it'd be nice. I'd like boring. Yeah, just for a little bit, only for a few weeks. Cully, anybody from here stick out to you as potentially an option?
Not from Man United.
Is that all I need to hear? Is that all you need to say?
Well, no, I mean, I won't pick any defender. I know obviously Scott's pointing out the top scorers of your team are mostly defenders, but I still won't pick them because one, they don't complete games, most of them, most of your defenders, and you rotate them quite a lot. I don't know why he subs off centre backs all the time. Like, I just don't
He's
know what
so
he does.
scared of them being cropped again, mate, after last year.
Dallow's probably the only choice because he's probably going to play all the games, but
Yeah.
I still not trust your defence in keeping clean sheets. Probably the only one I'd look at because he's a cheapish midfielder as a fourth, fifth midfielder is Garnacho. again, you rotate the front three quite a bit. Haaland's coming back in. I think he's ready for a full 90 probably now after his injury. Rashford will probably play most of the games, but sometimes he dips him in and out randomly. I know he took him off at half time against Porto or something like that, didn't he? Or he didn't start him in that game or something.
Half time. Have half time, yeah.
Yeah, something. So he does some weird things, Ten Hag. And so if I was going to look at anyone, it'd be Garnacho, but I probably wouldn't.
To be fair, I agree with that. If I was going to look at anyone, it'd be Garnacho, or I probably wouldn't. I will say, I think after maybe these two games, I'm watching Haaland really closely because I really rate him. I think he's really good. I think he's one of our better signings we've made in the £1 billion we've spent in the last 11 years on randomers. But I think he's probably one of the better signings. I love his attitude, love the way he plays. So I'm just going to keep a close eye on him. In a couple of weeks, I might be interested in him for that 3 week run. And finally, Spurs. Scott, talk to me about Spurs. Son's back.
Brennan Johnson did well, didn't he? For everyone, including me, that brought him in this week.
Sorry about that. I've been diff draft. We were both shouting him out last week, and then he. Well, Spurs score 4 goals, and the man who scored in every game of the last 6 doesn't get a return. I mean, what's going on there? That's FPL summed up.
He missed a sitter basically as well. He should have scored in that game. That was frustrating, but I don't mind still having him for this run of fixtures. I still think he's cracking value. I still think he looks dangerous. One player that I thought was super impressive. I've not seen a lot of football the last few weeks. It's been away in the international break, but one player, Kulusevski, looked brilliant. He would, if I didn't have Johnson, he would probably be one I would get in ahead of Johnson now, just because how he played last game, and he's 0.5 million cheaper. Son not doing enough to warrant 9.9 million. Cottage, did he get the assist? No, I don't even know. He didn't get the assist. There was something about an assist that he might have been getting.
He just got one. He just got credit with one goal.
Yeah, so you think he got credited with the assist, and they've taken it off him. So, rightly so as well, because that was never an assist. But yeah, again, for his attacking returns, Pedro Porro I think does all right for people that has him. His assist got taken off.
Don't find it funny, Scott, by the way, that Maddison obviously gets subbed at half time and everyone's been a bit hit and miss this season. He's still their top point scorer in FPL.
Yeah, I just think that,
43 points. I still think that he's a decent choice. Just 7.6 mil. He's just too expensive, really, to bring.
You won't get him ahead. You won't bring him in ahead of Johnson, Kulusevski, as things stand, would you? So, but no, Spurs look really good. That second half was brilliant from Spurs. They came out all guns blazing, and fair play to the manager. He's obviously made a change there, bringing Maddison off, restructuring the team. I think he brought Sarr, not Sarr, but he brought
Sarr.
It
was Sarr.
Yeah, it was Sarr. Got Sarr on. And yeah, they look really good. You'd never touch the defence though. Solanke looked decent without obviously getting any returns. He's pretty much guaranteed he's going to be playing, isn't he? In that they're only out and out striker in the way they play. But yeah, kind of got marked out of the game, a bit like Haaland did this weekend.
Yeah, well, Kulu's played 90 minutes in the last 6. He's obviously vital to that Postecoglou side. You can tell he's one of the key members of that team. I think Van der Ven at 4.7 still really good value. I think he can pop it with attacking returns here and there. In fact, do you know what? At 4.5, he was really good actually. But there you go. But anyway, like I say, would you touch Spurs' defence? Not too sure, to be honest. The fixtures are Palace away, who honestly can't do anything at the moment. Palace, Villa at home, not the easiest fixture, but then Ipswich at home, not bad. Not bad next 3 fixtures. Let's have a look at the fixtures for this week, lads. Anyway, and sorry, my computer's loving life in this service station, so I'm having a great time. I think the key question is triple captain Haaland or not after 3 blanks in a row. Scott, what do you think?
Obviously, when really smart people triple captain him in game week 2, he'd already got a goal in game week 1. And yeah, it was Ipswich at home. Yeah, I think if you look at Haaland, he loves playing at home. like he's blanked in the last 3 game weeks, but only one of them's been at home against Fulham. And yeah, I didn't watch the game, don't know, but like he probably should have. He expect XG 0.25. Probably should have scored for Haaland. That, to be fair.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's an absolute option. Like you said, we said at the beginning of the season, the way the FA Cup's going to be this year, there's going to be less double game weeks. So yeah, you probably could look at a Haaland. I think if he'd scored at the weekend, I think we'd be satisfied. Yeah, captain him is a great shout. I still think it is. Southampton have looked so poor defensively that I think it is, and it's the kind of game he turns around and gets fined, isn't it? So I think if I hadn't already used my chip, I would be using it on Haaland this week.
I had this almost earmarked, and I was just devastated that he's not returned against Wolves. And I could have just triple captained him this week and done it with confidence. I'm really on the fence on it. Kully, what do you think? You're bringing him in, obviously bringing him in to captain him. Are you bringing him in to triple captain him?
No. I wouldn't say I've not considered it. Like it was in my thought process, but I think one big key cog is De Bruyne. If De Bruyne don't play, I don't think there's many people who can service him in that side to get him one on one with the keepers a lot and to have clear cut chances. I know Southampton are shit, but still, they've
It's a
not
very
looked without De Bruyne. They've not looked like they can create, chance after chance after chance like they always do. And even without Rodri, I think he's a really great creative outlet for them as well. So I know Cottage is a decent replacement, but not Rodri, he's not De Bruyne. Um, if they bring Foden in from the start, maybe it's a consideration. But nah, I'm probably going to think down the line, and there might be something that can happen down the line. Maybe a double game week or a similar fixture at home that I would do it. And he'll be in form as well. He's not scoring three like you said, but that De Bruyne thing is always one for me that I think he's his main, provider. So
think it's an excellent point, Cully. And Southampton expected goals conceded of 16.8. The only team worse than them this season is Ipswich with 16.9. They've conceded 18 goals this season. The only team with a worse defence than them is Gary O'Neill, Mr Crybaby himself, Wolves, with 23 that they've conceded. So
I think.
go on.
Sorry, Al. You go.
No, no,
Sorry, you
no,
cut
no.
out.
I was just going to do
Yeah.
home and away stuff. That's all. But in terms of away from home, in terms of XGC, they are um, only at 6.9 in 4 games, but they have actually conceded 10 goals away from home, which only Wolves again have done worse than. So expected goals conceded actually away from him hasn't been as bad, but they have still conceded the second most behind Wolves. And I'm just going to check what fixtures they had away from home, Scott, whilst you make your point.
I was just going to say Man City play in Champions League Wednesday evening, get home to Sparta Prague. Probably a similar test to what Southampton's going to be and similar kind of level team. So Sparta Prague, you'd like to think they're a bit better than in the Champions League. But yeah, keep an eye on that one because if he scores 3 or 4 in that one, you probably want to be triple captain then. I just don't think, for me personally, it's worth just holding on to that chip for a potential decent double game week this season. Not when Southampton have looked so poor defensively.
Their away fixtures so far: lost 1-0 to Newcastle, lost 3-1 to Brentford, lost 3-1 to Bournemouth, and lost 3-1 to Arsenal. So what's the bet? It's 3-1. Looking at these fixtures and the way that it's gone, yeah, I think you have a watch for him midweek. I mean, imagine if he bangs like 4 goals in at home to Sparta Prague, I'm triple captaining him immediately. It's just the way that it goes. Yeah, he's borderline for me. Anybody who is going to have massive heart palpitations because they don't have Haaland, there are another couple of options this week in terms of captaincy that aren't terrible. Just so everyone knows, the deadline is a Friday deadline at 6:30. Very important. Friday deadline, 25th of October. Leicester play Nottingham Forest. I was going to say Filbert Street then. How old school's that? Filbert Street. Oh, back in the day.
Oh,
Yeah, at Leicester. Let's just say that. Villa at home to Bournemouth. Ollie Watkins is an option. Brentford at home to Ipswich. And Mbumo, an option. Would we have an issue captaining him again? Don't think so. Brighton play Wolves, City, Southampton, Everton, Fulham for the Saturday night kickoff. Then you've got Chelsea play Newcastle, Palace play Spurs, West Ham play Man United, and then the smallest game of the weekend, Arsenal against Liverpool. So Watkins or Mbumo? Cully, thoughts?
Yeah, potentially. I was going to say this. Apart from Arsenal, Liverpool, there's some terrible TV games this weekend. I'm not sure.
Chelsea Newcastle can't be that bad. That's not too
Are
bad.
they on TV? Okay. So
Yeah,
I heard Everton, Fulham, and then the last is it
Forest.
Forest? Yeah, I'm not
The
really watching
East
that.
Midlands derby. Oh,
Oh, sorry, there'll be
hold me
some
back.
bite to that. There'll be some bite to that. Yeah, yeah, potentially. But I mean, if you don't, I think 90% of people in the game are going to be bringing Haaland in for this week, or somehow going to make it possible to bring Haaland in this week. So if they've not got him already, so
Absolutely. In terms of AI transfers this week for the pod team, this may take up to 20 seconds. It never normally does, but I am sat in a car park, so let's just see how fast this loads up. We've got bank your free transfer. Oh, that was worth the wait, wasn't it? Right, lads, let's do our football chat. I thought it was gonna give us something to talk about because it gave me a transfer option yesterday when I did that, but never mind. Great podcasting. Let's go to football chat, and I'm really interested to know your guys' thoughts this weekend on VAR took centre stage, I think, this weekend. Was was it a huge success overturning the amount of decisions that they did, or did they get too involved in debatable calls, Cully? What's your thoughts on VAR for the
um,
weekend?
I think they got all the decisions correct. If I'm honest, I think the City one was a goal. I don't think he was interfering with the keeper. Which is obviously surprising as a Liverpool fan, me saying that for a City goal, but I genuinely think it was a goal. If my team got that chalked off, I'd be fuming. I think the Arsenal Saliba one was a red card because he was going straight towards goal. I think Saliba does have a pull at him as well. I think it's deliberate and it's a denying of a goal scoring opportunity. I think the difference between that and the Liverpool one is the ball from Salah's going away from goal and Colwell's on the cover and he's quite close to Jota as well when Tosin brings him down. So I think that was correct. I think the second penalty that they overturned for Liverpool was correct. I don't think it was a pen. I think he gets the ball first. I just think it's just a natural collision that happens. And then what was the other major one? I think the Southampton one.
You've
The
you've you've
VAR.
you've conveniently forgotten about Trent stamping on Sancho, but
Oh, I just think that's just 50. That's literally he's going to plant. He wants to plant his foot down. And he just accidentally catches him. The ball's gone as well.
mm,
I mean, if they gave a penalty, I wouldn't like cry about it because I'd think, all right, okay, there's contact and he's accidentally twisted his ankle. But I just don't think there was enough in it to say, oh, yeah, that was definite foul. Um, I would like to say that referee from both teams was horrendous yesterday. That the last minute shoulder to shoulder with Nunes, I don't know if he looked again,
I did see that.
but that
That's
last minute
funny.
shoulder to shoulder that made Slot, who's normally quite calm on the sidelines, very calm compared to Klopp. Like he went batshit crazy, and everyone went batshit crazy because how was that a foul? And if they scored from that, it would have been absolute hell in the stands. So yeah, that sent my head to Mars. That did, but yeah, it was terrible that referee. But I think overall, majority of big decisions of the weekend, I think they got correct.
Um, Scott, anything to come back with on them before I ask you a similar question, but I'm going to rephrase it
Yeah.
slightly.
No, yeah, unfortunately, I do agree with Cully there. What I like this weekend for the games I watched was they seemed to be a bit quicker with this sending the ref to the screen. They're like, look, could be. I want you to have another look at it. I can't remember what occasion it was. The referee went to the screen and he just was like, "Yeah, no, my original decision was correct," and I
Yeah.
love that. I can't remember what it was, but I did enjoy that. But thought probably the best game week ever in the Premier League for that.
See, it's interesting because I have a slightly different view on it, and my view is only about how involved it got in what I think quite clearly quite debatable decisions. So, and that's kind of not the point of it. So when you had a look at I had a look at the survey on the John Stones winner that took place on Sky Sports earlier. Should John Stones winner have been disallowed? 59% of people said yes, and 41% of people said no. You do usually get a big team bias in those
Yeah,
on those
and how
things.
tribal are those polls as well? It's so much. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I know, but my point is more the goal was disallowed on the pitch and it
right.
became a debatable decision afterwards. Now, I personally think the right decision was reached. I think it should have been a goal. But at the same time, is VAR there to re-referee or to do clear and obvious things? And when it's basically a 50-50 call, again, it should they have got involved at that point? The Saliba red card, actually, I think they should have definitely stuck with the on-field decision. I think you can't have complained if it was given a red straight away, and I wouldn't have expected that to get overturned. But the whatever was given on the field for the Saliba one should have stuck, in my opinion, whatever it was. Like it literally for me wasn't clear. You know, Evan Nilsson's got to take the ball on the bounce. That's going to slow down his run. Ben White's it is covering. Everyone's like 29 yards away. Well, if you draw a straight line that way, he's going to be 29 yards away. Has anyone ever heard of a triangle? Like, he's obviously going to be running at a different angle. He's not going to run at that angle. Morons on Match of the Day. But like when you looked at it's for me, it wasn't a clear and obvious overturn. So yeah, probably the right decisions were all reached, probably. But for me, the Saliba one in particular was annoying. I don't think it should have been overturned. I don't think they should have got whatever the decision was. I don't think it should have got overturned. Um, they were 60-40 on. He should have had a red card. By the way, the Sky Sports poll. So they
Maybe
did
we should
say it
just
was.
do that. Maybe we should just do that. Just put like decisions out to poll. Everyone's got a minute to decide.
Yeah.
The point is, it's just a debatable decision. I don't know. Like Scott, from your perspective, just to come back on that, because I'm interested in what you guys have got to say on that one. Are you more bothered about, in that sense, the right decision being reached in your eyes, or because obviously they say the right decision was reached for you in your opinion, or I don't know how to phrase the question. Are you bothered about VAR getting involved as long as they get the decision right, basically?
No, no, just get the decision right by hook or by crook. Just get it right.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Well, there you go. Um, interested to know everyone's thoughts, by the way. They do want to send me a DM on was it the biggest most successful weekend for VAR or not? One thing they potentially did miss was the shirt tug in the Southampton game. Um, penalty for you guys. Did you see it? Did you see the one where he's holding his shirt?
Yeah, they went up the other end and scored, didn't they, straight away?
Yeah, for a shirt pull on the VAR. That's why they were annoyed
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, it probably is. To be fair, I think that actually, I've forgotten about that. I think that is a foul. But one thing I will say, completely off the subject, the boy for Leicester, he looked brilliant. Get his
Yeah, the
name.
guy.
The guy who hit
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
button.
Butter, whatever. What is it?
Batawu.
Yeah, whatever his
Yeah.
name. He smashed the bar. He looked brilliant, didn't he? Yeah, one player to just keep an eye on for FPL. But yeah, probably a foul.
Cully, are you bothered if they get the right decision or not? Would you like them to get
Um,
involved? We
I
happy
get
with the
what you
level
said.
of involvement?
I get what you're saying because it's only when they brought it in, it should have only been brought in for absolute howlers on the pitch, like absolute clear howlers. Like I remember one of the first decisions was the Aubameyang at Old Trafford. It was like 5 yards onside. They gave it offside on the pitch. That's what it should be brought in for. Like
Yeah.
that's an absolute howler. How you got that wrong on the pitch? And then they've overturned it because it was like 5 yards onside. I get what you're saying, but again, I just want right decisions. I do think the Saliba one was clear and obvious because I get what you're saying in terms of why it could have got there, but I just think he's that far away from the ball. And I think it's tough with subjective decisions. No one is going to fully agree with like everything. No,
Yeah, yeah.
every decision is not going to be 100%. It's not going to be 100% zero. It might be 90-10, it might be 80-20 or 70-30, blah, blah, blah. you're never going to get unanimous like agreement on it. So it's just tough with subjective decisions. So I get what you're saying, but I'd rather it more be right than not get involved at all.
It's fair enough. I
Fully,
think it's
quick one. Are you getting what Alex is saying?
I get what
he,
Alex is saying.
he gets what he gets what I'm saying, but he disagrees with me, which is totally fair, and I don't mind that at all. I think it's what it's all about, and I'm happy for VAR to get involved on a consistent level across the board. Let's get on to some quick fire questions to wrap up, and I've got quite a few of these quick fire questions actually. So we'll try keep it down to a 30-second response per person, if that's all right, lad, between the two of you. And we'll
All right,
start off.
Baz in here, so that'll be fine, mate.
I don't have to get the clock out. A Liverpool title challengers, Cully.
We'll find out in the next 6 weeks. Our fixtures are very, very tough. I'm going to sit on the fence for now.
Unbelievable. Scott?
Yeah, 100%. Best defense in the league by probably quite far now. The main boys looking good up top. They've got like 6 attacking players that can rotate up there as well. 100% title challenges. You got an Arsenal team that can't keep men on the pitch and a Man City team without country. Yes, great.
I agree. Yes, is the one-word answer for me from that one. Scott, do Arsenal have a discipline problem? 18 yellow cards since Boxing Day 2019 is the stat that keeps getting thrown around. Obviously, they
Yeah.
got a yellow card on Boxing Day 2019. I don't know why that's the date that they've decided to pick it, but quite clearly the most red cards.
Yeah, they do. They've got a discipline record because they're all different kind of cards as well. It's not like they've got a specific discipline record where the players are just going through people. They're all kind of sendings off. So yeah, that was really bad for Saliba. Gary Neville had said it a few times. One of the worst mistakes you can have a defender is making a mistake and just following it up with another mistake. What's worse that could happen if you go through scores? Yeah, you're fine. You're Arsenal. You're playing Bournemouth. You'll get back into the game. So yes, they do.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that, Scott? Well, I'm gonna. The does Saliba is it all in is it in their heads psychologically that they know they can't afford to drop points because they're up against Manchester City? Is that tug a is that a mental thing from him to then go, no, they can't score, we can't drop any points, and he grabs him even though he's blatantly fast enough to catch up to Evan Nielsen because he's rapid. Is that a
Nah,
mentality thing because City have done to them?
no, I don't think it is. I feel like me and you both listened to Five Live on the way to football yesterday.
I did, yeah. Monday
Yeah,
Night Club. It was that's what I listened to
yeah,
I listened to the podcast today, and I thought it was a
yeah,
really fair point,
yeah. It's an
actually.
interesting question. I don't think it is. I think as people that have played football before, your instinct a lot of the time is, oh crap, I've made a mistake or the ball's gone. Let me do everything I can really quickly to get this ball back. So I don't think it is a mentality thing. It shouldn't be if it is. Bloody hell, we're only in October. And I think it will, if that happened in February, March time, yes. I think we're getting in heads a bit, but no. Because City are dropping points as well. It's not like they're
Fully,
winning everything.
your thoughts on that follow-up question, and do Arsenal have a discipline problem?
Yes, they do have a discipline problem. I think they showed it on Monday Night Football yesterday. Since Arteta's been in, they've had the most cards in the top 6, 17 red cards, I think it was, compared to like the next best, which is like 9 or something from a top 6 club. And from speaking from a fan's perspective of a team who's been competing with City for the last 5-6 years,
I was asking.
it is mentally taxing, and I believe it does take a toll on the team. Like a lot. I mean, we had to basically win 28 of our first 29 games to win the league when we did. So, and I think that's what it takes. I do, even if they've lost that game, I still think they're in the race this season because of the likes of Rodri being out for the season and De Bruyne's not come back yet. And I do just think City are not quite the same without the likes of Mahrez and all that sort of stuff. So I know he's been away for a year and a bit, and I think obviously we're picking up the injuries now as well. Alisson's out for 6 weeks to 8 weeks or whatever. That's a key loss for us. So I don't think they're out of it yet, but they've got to get their act together, 100%.
Following up on this, the team on the exact same amount of points as Arsenal. Is Unai Emery the best manager in the Premier League behind Pep currently? I did see a statistic that he has had the most goals or most impact from his substitutes since he's come into the league compared to any other manager. So he's impacted games within games more than any other manager. Kully, is he second to Pep?
Yeah. I've said this for ages. Arteta is a great young manager, but he's not won any. Well, I know he won the FA Cup, but Emery's got a track record of everywhere he goes, barring Arsenal. He's won trophies and he's done really well at those clubs. And what he's done with Villa is exceptional. I think he's a fantastic manager. I definitely think he's the second best in the league.
I'd have loved him at United, I can't lie. Scott, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, third best. You got Eric in there, aren't you? Second best, but yeah,
Oh, thanks.
that is it's obviously class. Be interesting the next few weeks for Villa when Champions League is obviously going on a bit more. See how they get on, but again, top six. If they can get top six and quarterfinals of the Champions League and a decent FA Cup run, that's an exceptional season.
It really is. And winning the FA Cup is a massive achievement, Cully, and I think he's the second best in the league. Who are the biggest overachievers and underachievers in the league? I want answers from you, Scott.
Cool. So I think so far the biggest overachievers in the league is a team that I thought would struggle this season, Nottingham Forest. I think they're currently sitting eighth in the league.
Yep.
2 points off fifth. They've had an up and down fixture list. I think they've done really well defensively. They look solid as a rock, and I thought they were a team that would really struggle. So I would say them. Special shout out to Brighton, new manager coming in, just sort of doing the Brighton thing, fifth in the league. Biggest underachievers. I mean, obviously Man United and West Ham. We all thought that. I think West Ham more for the fact that we all were excited by the players they brought in, and they've done poor and they've looked boring. It's the most disappointing thing. That you bring in the best player in the Championship last year, and you don't even play him. But again, special shout out to I thought they'd do. No, do you know what? I thought they'd all do poor back down there over them. Yeah, Man United and West Ham.
Cully, biggest overachiever? Do you agree on Forest second best defence in the league, eighth in the league, or do you think Brighton deserve the shout?
Brighton just continue to amaze me. If I'm honest, they can change the managers however many times, they just keep the same style of football and a fifth in the league out of a very competitive league above the likes of Chelsea, Spurs, United, Newcastle. These teams that should be really fighting for the top four. So they've done amazingly well. Underachievers, I'm going to go West Ham because I had them tipped to challenge for Europe. I mean, they still can, but with the squad they have and the recruitment they've got, I thought they could be up there the top six challenging, if I'm honest. So to be 13th or 14th in a minute is disappointing.
Yeah, Forest is my overachievers and Palace my underachievers. I think their 3 points so far is abysmal. That was my lot, and obviously I didn't want to talk about my guys in a negative way, of course. But to talk about them now, have Man United finally turned a corner? Thought I'd throw that one in there because isn't it hilarious that we turn corners every week when we win, don't we? But is Kobe Mainu overrated? Because our statistics in the team compared to when he's not in the team, same with England, actually are pretty frightening about how bad they are. Scott, your thoughts?
I don't think he's overrated. I don't think there's a lot of noise about him for the last few months. I think he's a good player that came on, smashed it, and he's just ticking over. I think he's just rated. I don't think he's underrated or overrated. I think he's doing fine as it is. And yeah, unfortunately, it's tough when you've got those kind of statistics next to your name. But yeah, he's a boy. He's fine.
Cully?
I think it's really tough to judge an 18-year-old and put that type of pressure on him to be your main guy in midfield. So I don't think he's overrated, but I just think you have probably ran his legs into the ground a little bit, and he's obviously played for England in the Euros. So I think he's probably just needs a bit of a rest. Take him out the side for a couple of months and then get him back in. And in terms of United turn a corner, no.
Obviously not from your perspective. For me, it's quite simple. Keep that midfield the same. Bring Agati in at some point and keep that front three the same. And I think we'll start picking up points. But yeah, Mainu is not overrated. I just saw some stuff on online that was a bit mean about him, really, to be honest. I think we're like I completely agree with you, Cully. Run his legs into the ground and needs a little bit more time as a young lad to develop. Scott, I am coming to you first again. Are Wolves just bad? Or have they had bad fixtures and we need to give them all time?
Well, yes, they've had tough fixtures, but let's not forget what they also had a horrendous end to last season as well. So this is not a run of 8 games. This is a run of probably 16 games actually. When you look at it, and to get 1 point from 8 games is terrible. Yes, you've Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle, Villa, Liverpool, Brentford, a tough team, and Man City at home is obviously in a. They got unlucky. They played well against Man City. I don't like Gary O'Neill. I think he's a moaner, and he's looking to have a job. And I know you've got this weird fetish about him, Al, but he's
Absolutely not anymore. Jesus, that crying man.
but
Honestly,
but no, for me, he's got the next probably 4 or 5 games to save his job, save his career.
career like that. It was hard done by being sat by Bournemouth, but my God, he's doing a bad job at the moment, isn't he? Cully, your thoughts?
I agree. Like he's obviously it's been a terrible end of last season and start of this season, but he's lost Kilman, he's lost Neto, probably two of his best players in the summer. They've not replaced him, so I don't think the board's done him any good, if I'm honest, or the hierarchy above him. They've not done him any favours in terms of replacements. Can't even think of who they replaced him with, if I'm honest. You? They've like Forbes from Ajax, who I think is on loan. He looks quite decent.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what the centre back they've brought in to replace him. So I think they did bring one in, but he's out for quite a while now, actually, injury. So
Yeah.
can't remember his name, but yeah, I don't think he's had any favours from the board. So I think he needs probably half a season. I think they'll probably give him till Christmas time and see how he goes.
Are Southampton doomed before they've even started, Cully?
Yeah, yeah. Just simple answer. I think, yeah, I don't think the squad's good enough. I don't think the manager's good enough. I do like the style of football he plays. I do like his personality, but I just think he's a bit naive to come into the Premier League and just try that pretty football and play out from the back against better teams. You're going to get found out.
It's called the Vincent Company effect. Scott, your thoughts?
No, I don't think they're doomed. Like I said, they played decent football. The last game will be a tough one to take. Um, were they 2-0 up against Leicester?
Yeah,
I think they were, weren't they? Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, you've got to be winning that game. But no, you've also got a really poor Crystal Palace team, a really poor Wolves team, an Ipswich team, which we know will be scrapping. And yeah, Leicester that have not looked great. You expect West Ham to pull away a little bit. So if other teams keep struggling as well, they've got half a chance, but they need to not be letting 2 goals lead slip.
I just can't see them getting 35 points or whatever you need to stay up.
Well, if this continues the way this season has started after 8 games, they ain't going to need 35 points to stay up, are they?
No, it's possibly not, but it's always around that sort of mark, 32 to 35 or whatever it is. So I just
Well,
can't
you'd expect out of all them teams, Palace to go on a bit of a run, right? So,
well, at the moment, if Southampton
I agree.
continue on,
I think Palace will get out of it easily.
well, that was the next question. Are they actually in danger? But just to clarify, if Southampton stay on this trajectory, they'll end up with 5 points this year. Sorry, Southampton, I should say. Are Palace in Are Palace in danger? Are they actually in danger, Crystal Palace? Are they a team that should their fans be sat there worrying, Cully? Are they getting relegated? Are they in that dogfight?
No, they've got enough quality in the squad to be fine, I think. But again, I think their summer activity didn't strengthen them. I think it weakened them. I think selling the likes of Elise and Anderson, who I really like, and Elise is a brilliant player. And again, Nketiah in. I think Mateta always played in the was 120 under 23s World Cup or something.
Played in the
Olympics.
Played the Olympics.
Olympics. That's it. He played in the Olympics, so he's probably taking a little bit of time to get back to the form he was last season. Needs a bit of time out. So I think give him after like November time, and I think from December time they'll start picking up and getting away from the bottom three.
Scott, Palace in a relegation battle.
They've got a really good manager. That's got a really, really respected track record around Europe. So no, but what I will say is they've not had the hardest starts to the season, and they start on 1 point. Sorry, 3 points. And one of them was against Man United.
They were lucky as well. To be fair, that's probably one of the best performances we've had this year. And then we drew it 0-0. So Palace are getting out of it. So Ipswich, Southampton, Wolves going down then, Cully?
It's too early to say. I
Come
I
on,
still
commit to
think
it. Stop,
Wolves
get off the
could get out of
fence.
it.
Get off the fence.
I think it'll be I think it'll be the three that came up that go back down. Sadly, I think Wolves will get out of it somehow. I think they will go on a run eventually. I think they'll probably maybe sack O'Neill and get a manager in that, and they'll have a bit of bounce. I just can't see Leicester getting that many points like Southampton.
Scott, Ipswich, Southampton getting relegated with Wolves then. Oh, did you hear me? Sorry,
Yeah,
was that
please.
my connection then? Sorry.
No, not Ipswich. No, no, no.
Sorry, who's going down, Scott? Sorry, apologies.
Sorry, I'll
That's my
talk and
internet.
try. Hopefully, you won't talk over me. That's okay. So I think Wolves, Southampton, and Ipswich will go down. I think Leicester have got some really sexy players. That's going to be.
Final question, lads, to wrap up. Is Chelsea's transfer policy starting to actually work for them? And are they Champions League challengers, Cully?
They impressed me yesterday, if I'm honest, or Sunday whenever we played. Can't remember what day it is. Yeah, they did pretty well. They kept the ball quite nicely. Um, I think they've got some great attacking players. I mean, if you throw enough money at the wall, some of it's going to stick. So you're going to have a few good players. Um, and I think the squad's on paper looks pretty decent. I think they'll compete with fourth with Aston Villa. I don't think the rest of them are good enough to take the fourth position, barring Chelsea and Villa. Spurs will probably be the next in line after that, and then United and Newcastle and whatever. So I think they are definitely challengers. I think the fact that they're in the Conference League and not the Champions League or Europa League is a big help as well.
Scott, you go.
Pause with dramatic effect. Chelsea's transfer. I don't understand how I'm going to answer that question. No, it's not worked. They've just got a manager now that's just keeping a set team. I would say no to them getting in the Champions League. They've had two tests this season and lost them both. They've lost against City and lost against Liverpool. They've not had a hard run other than that. So no, but nice to see Chelsea not being as much of a joke club anymore.
It is lovely. Not from my perspective, because it was nice when they were jokers alongside Man United, but never mind. But lads, we'll wrap it up there, and it's my internet connection in this lovely car park isn't exactly doing me any favors anymore. So thank you very much for joining us, Cully. Thank you, Scott. Don't forget to follow us on social media platforms, Pod, P, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Don't forget to like the video where you get your videos from, which is normally YouTube, and also give us 5 stars wherever you get your podcasts from on Spotify. And we will see you next week. Goodbye for now.
So, yeah.